when I think about career and technical education, I'm reminded to my, back to my high school time. And during that time, career and technical education students were usually students that did not achieve academically. They were people that may have been told by their parents, maybe by their guidance counselor, you need to work with your hands. You need to work, you need to do the, auto shop. You need to take classes like that. You need to do, the carpentry. You need to do the, metalworking or whatever it is. That doesn't sound like what you're talking about at all.
Well, first of all, I have to keep my Italian temper under wraps because when you talk about career technical education, it is as high level academically as you want it to be. Yes, it is hands-on because you actually do something with your knowledge rather than to just be able to speak. You are able to show what it is that you can do. One of the things that is a total misconception on career technical education is just what you said, and this started back in the 50s, and it's a reputation because they built career tech centers. They were called trade schools back then, away from the main high schools, which was probably the downfall because you had to get on a bus and go somewhere. And it was exactly what you're saying. Well, unfortunately, in 2016, we still have counselors, academic people, teachers, principals who think that's the same situation. It is far from that as it could be. Our world has changed. To look at a car, for example, the computers that are in car, you have to be smart to figure that out. Same way with any type of hands-on environment. And oh, by the way, like my brother used to say, compare first paychecks with students who are graduating from electrical, plumbing. Compare their paychecks to first paychecks of people coming out. It's amazing. 70% of the jobs in the United States have a technical component, but yet only 17% of our students are in technical fields. It doesn't equate. I mean, our students are being deprived of skill sets that they could have. And if I wanted to be a doctor, why shouldn't I know how to build a house? That skill set would serve me well in my life if I knew what goes into a house building. So every child needs to have that exposure to have more skill sets. And one other thing, the talents of students goes from academic to goes across an array, with academic being only like 10% of a talent pool. You have all other areas or attributes. We only in education tend to look at that 10%. We need to open that door and look at the 80%, the whole child, so that they can take the area that they are talented in and be the best success that they can be. We owe it to that child.
I've worked in education for a while, and I've worked in post-secondary primarily, and I think about the type of schooling that students have even at that level, and it is primarily classroom based, as you talked about. Usually the seating is with the teacher in the front, as you talked about, and the students are in rows behind, and the teacher is the dominant factor there. They are not a facilitator. They are providing information, and they usually expect that information disseminated back in some form, usually a test, and then the students progress on to the next class. And many students, I would say the vast majority of students that graduate are not at all equipped for jobs, at all.
Right.
They don't have life skills. They've transitioned from a traditional high school environment into a traditional college environment and don't have a clue often how to even put together a resume, let alone how to do something hands-on, in the workplace. And so employers have to invest, countless dollars and invest time training students in order to be able to go to work.
Right.
And that's a problem.
It is a problem. If you look at the statistics of colleges and universities, in graduation and then employment, it's not good. But college, university, it's a wonderful tool. But the problem is it is a tool. And it's a tool to get you to where you're going. But we, as parents, as teachers in secondary, we treat it as a product. In other words, if you go to college, you've done it. You're successful. It's not an end product. It is a very powerful tool to get you to a career that you're going to do. But we send students without any idea about the career. We send them just to get the tool.
Sounds to me that when students are going through this process and when they graduate, they actually can point to some very tangible products, to some very tangible end results that have come about as a result of the process of education within a simulated workplace.
They can, and they are very competent. They have developed leadership positions. They also very creative. Through the simulated workplace process, we have had a group of students that have designed and created a shield for a chainsaw. It does not exist in the United States, but this was a group of young men in a company who got the idea because they had one of their relatives was hurt by a chainsaw. They didn't want it to happen to any other child's family. So they developed this. It is now patented, and there's a backers for this, and hopefully they will manufacture it in West Virginia. But this happens all the time. I have students in some schools that create games that can be sold to Mattel and other places. When you allow the student to take on the roles, just stand back, because these students will go far beyond what anybody ever dreamed. And I have had at least 10 teachers tell me they did not realize that they were holding our students back. But by letting go and allowing them to create, to think positive, to build their companies, amazing things are happening. I mean, it was beyond what we thought would happen.
Well, this is very exciting, Kathy. I think that this is a really a challenge to a lot of the misconceptions that people have about career and technical education, and I really count it a privilege to have you here today to hear about this. And I can't wait to talk to some of the students that are part of your program that are here today.
You're kind, but it's not me. It's the young people you're going to speak to. West Virginia is so blessed, and we have such a foundational pool of young people coming up. We just have to make sure we treat them right coming up.
Thanks for being with us today. We'll be right back with some students that are part of the simulated workplace in West Virginia.